This is the evening program with Peter Gers
Radio Vaudeville
on 891 ABC Adelaide and across South Australia and Broken Hill.
Now, we've had a lot of news of this poor man, Scott Richards, who's been in detention in Dubai for over 3 weeks. He's now finally been charged under the 2015 charity laws for promoting a charitable cause on social media. Radha Stirling is the founder of this charity. Welcome to the show, Radha.
Hi, thanks very much.
What charity is it?
The charity that Scott was promoting.
Yes.
Yes, it was to provide help to people in Afghanistan who were freezing over the winter time.
Mm-hmm. And it's not a religious charity in any way?
No, not at all, not at all.
Why would you work out of Dubai? It seems to me a place of extraordinarily bad spirit, Dubai, Radha.
Yes, certainly. I mean, it has been promoted, I think, to the general public as a very modern society. And it's attracted people with high wages and excellent living conditions. But I think that people are seeing these sort of stories in the media and finally becoming aware of the sort of pitfalls of living there. But I think there's also an element of people thinking that it won't happen to them.
I suppose. But why is it being operated out of Dubai rather than anywhere else in the world?
Sorry, why is...
Why is the charity being operated out of Dubai rather than anywhere else?
Well, the charity isn't. No, it hasn't been operating out of Dubai. It's been operating... It's a US-registered charity.
Yes. And
the volunteer work itself was in Afghanistan. But, Scott, living in the UAE, apparently shared some Facebook posts about the charity.
Yes.
So that's the only reason he's being charged.
Oh, so he doesn't work for the charity?
No, not at all.
Oh, I see.
He supports it.
Well, what does he do in Dubai?
He's working as an economic development advisor there.
Right. So he then supported your charity just by how did he support it?
No, not my charity. It's an external charity. I don't have anything to do with it. But he was very emotional about people dying in Afghanistan simply because they didn't have enough clothing and coverage over the winter time.
And how did he support it? I mean, financially, or he just liked it, or?
I don't know whether he personally contributed financially, but I do know that he went over to Afghanistan to volunteer on the ground by providing all of the equipment that the charity in the US was supplying.
Right. So he was active in the charity.
Yes, I believe that he went over there to volunteer a couple of times in Afghanistan.
Right.
Mind you, that's not against the law in the UAE.
No,
You're allowed to volunteer.
But you said he wasn't working for the charity. But
No, he wasn't.
But he was working for the charity. Yeah.
Well, I guess you could say that. He went over there. He helped out a little bit. He was a bit active and came back. But I believe he was only there a few days.
And what is your? I'm just a bit lost here. What is your connection with this charity, Radha?
I don't have any connection with this particular charity, no. I run the organisation Detain in Dubai that help people in
right,
this situation.
I see. I get you. So you represent people who get arrested in Dubai. How many people get arrested in Dubai?
Oh, well, that's difficult to say. Personally, over the past decade, we deal with about 50 cases a month.
What are they charged with?
Well, we've had all sorts of things ringed and quite unexpected charges. For example, there was a case of Jodie Maggi. She was an Australian national.
Yes.
She uploaded a picture of a vehicle that was parked in a disabled place onto social media. And she was deported for that charge with it under slander laws. So we've had that. We've had David Haig, a prominent British national. He was jailed for around 4.5 months over allegedly saying something on Twitter that his company thought was slanderous. But he was ultimately acquitted, but 4.5 months in prison before the acquittal. So
and I suppose...
we've had...
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry?
No, go ahead. Yes.
We've had other people who were charged with plane spotting, which is quite a common hobby, and they were simply watching the planes fly in at an airport, which is not even against the law in the UAE, but they were detained 5 months before they're acquitted.
Good Lord. And what are the conditions in the jails like?
Well, I mean, the jails are almost better than the police stations because they're equipped to keep people for much longer. So
Yes.
their conditions, while obviously horrendous, certainly not as bad as the police detention facilities, where they're not designed to hold people like Scott in there for 3-4 weeks.
No.
They're very overcrowded. There's no blankets and mattresses. You might have to sleep, sitting up or standing in some cases.
Scott now has been charged. And when will he go to court?
I just checked today, and he does not have a court date assigned. There's quite a backlog at the moment, so it can take anywhere up to a few months, and you just have to hope that in the meantime you'll be granted bail.
Oh, dear. Now, I suppose, one would expect draconian laws in Dubai, but you can easily make a mistake, especially when the ground shifts legally. I mean, you cited the example of the plane spotters, which is not against the law until, indeed, somebody wants it to be.
Well, I think one of the biggest problems that the UAE has is the enforcement of the laws and the practice in real life. The theory of law and what is not allowed, but what happens in reality is the opposite. So, for example, clothing. There are laws against sort of dressing in a certain way that might expose the body of a woman, but in practice it's widespread. There's laws against sex outside of marriage, but then hotel lobbies have prostitutes everywhere. There's anti-drinking laws, anti-alcohol laws, but everyone is drinking. There's laws against homosexuality, but there are gay clubs everywhere. So you can get very confused as to... or you can take the risks because you see 95% of the population violating the laws but not being punished.
So could it be that they don't like Scott Richards for something else, and they've got him on this, or how does it happen? How arbitrary is it?
Certainly, I think in a lot of cases where you're accused of slander or something similar, a lot of this can come from a disgruntled individual that holds a personal vendetta against you, and they can just easily make a police case against you, and the police will definitely pick it up.
And where are you based, Radha?
Usually in London, but I'm in Spain at the moment.
And this is extraordinary work. How did you get into this line of work?
Well, I was originally working in digital media, and a good friend of mine, her colleague, was detained in Dubai, and because of my legal and media background, I led the campaign that led to his release. Following that, I started getting a lot of inquiries because there was no other sort of support system or anything out there, and I got so many inquiries that I decided that this was a problem that really needed serious addressing.
Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
So what has he now been charged with, Scott Richards?
The police verbalised it as propaganda to fundraise, which essentially translates to promoting a Facebook page where there was a campaign to raise funds and not registered in the UAE.
And what's the worst case scenario for him?
If only charged under this, it would be up to a year's imprisonment or up to 100,000 dirhams fine, or both.
Which is what in pounds or dollars?
Oh, it's around £30,000, I believe.
Gee. And have you heard from the Australian and or British governments? What are they doing?
Well, certainly, I mean, the family is campaigning the Australian government because most of them are there. The British Embassy is the one that is primarily involved with assisting Scott. But at this stage, most of the government is sort of bowing out, waiting to see what happens next.
And there is a campaign, hashtag Free Scott Richards. And in your wide experience here, Radha, does public support, do the public campaigns help?
Absolutely. We don't do public campaigns in all cases where it might hinder the ability to have a good result at trial. But in most cases, I do I do see that government intervention has led to some very positive results. We can see that in the case of Matt Joyce and Marcus Lee, some other Australians who had issues in the UAE.
Yes.
I saw it in Kat Lahoy's case, who was another man from Adelaide, the first one I worked on. He was detained. We had a huge campaign, and he was released within 7 weeks.
Yeah. What was he detained for?
Allegedly for possessing hashish in his bag, which was minute particles of dust, they allege. But it seemed that all of the evidence that they provided was very challenged because other people in the prison had exactly the same evidence, the exact amount of hashish. So it looked like authorities had not provided accurate evidence, and he was fully acquitted.
I found it a very curious place, like a lot of people, because it's now such a popular flight destination. It gets you from direct flights in Australia to Dubai. You change planes and go somewhere more interesting. But they are encouraging you, of course, to remain there and to be a tourist there. And, I had one of those sort of overnight stays where you do a sort of bus tour. And I found it an incredibly desolatory place. All I could think of was that, this Xanadu had been built by indentured labour from the Philippines, India, Bangladesh, etc., a labour which has been treated very badly.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
It sort of depressed me. And also, you almost never see an Emirati there. The tourist is mainly dealing with Indians, Bangladeshis, Filipinos and so forth, which is fine, but you kind of think, well, do any of the Emiratis actually do any of this kind of work? And I don't know that many do.
No, not many. I think most of the Emiratis are running the operations. But again, expats make up over 80% of the entire population of the UAE.
So what would you advise if people were going to work there, because many people do, or visit there? How can you advise people with this shifting terrain of laws?
I think you could only say that, to know the laws in advance and make sure that you don't copy what everyone else is doing, because even though they haven't been arrested, you could definitely be the one. The other thing is, of course, I think they would need to be advised that there's an element of risk that they'll be reported for something, and even if there's no evidence, just a random person from the street accuses them of crime, the hearsay in court is taken very seriously. So, hearsay that would be thrown out in the Australian court will be taken as fact in the UAE.
Micah is asking, what about web material put up outside the UAE, but the responsible person then travels to the UAE? So, you might... Yes, that's an interesting question.
Yes, and I've certainly considered that, and I would think that anything posted, even outside the UAE, could be subject to UAE law if you're arrested for it in the UAE. And although you would form a defence to say, I didn't do this from Dubai, I believe that it would be likely that they would convict you for it anyway.
So, for example, if I were going to the UAE and I might have ticked like to all kinds of things on Facebook or supported charities, which I have, that are not approved in the UAE, they could go me for that.
Most certainly, yes. I would advise anyone who's shared any sort of charities that raise funds outside the UAE, if they were to go there, they should delete that. And that includes a whole range of other things that you would want to definitely research the social media laws before getting there, and cybercrime laws in particular, and check your Facebook and social media and make sure there's nothing up there before you go.
Gee, even passing through?
Even if passing through, yes. If someone made a complaint, they would certainly take it very seriously, yes.
Which they're obliged to do under that UAE law. What a mess. Oh.
It is. It's very difficult as well, because someone like Scott, for example, is, has shared a charity outside of the UAE, but mostly, his audience on his Facebook are people that don't even live in the UAE. So he's sharing a charity with his friends back home in Australia, happens to be from Dubai, but he's not even fundraising. So
who dobbed him in?
We don't know. We did receive a report that an Emirati man made a complaint. So we don't know the reasons or who it was in particular. But yes, it seems to have come from an Emirati man.
That's really, really weird, and don't like it. I wish you well, Radha Stirling, founder of Detained in Dubai. Clearly, it's very useful work that you're doing, and strength to your arm, ma'am.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you, Radha Stirling there. Fascinating.
This is the evening program with Peter Gers.
Pure nighttime entertainment.
On ABC South Australia and Broken Hill.